And I think we are live. Welcome.
Oh.
Yes, we are live. I think we are. Yep, we're live. Welcome everyone to I want to say it's the 4th annual MVG Christmas Eve podcast. So thank you everyone for joining. I know that it's Christmas in some parts of the world, so Merry Christmas to wherever you are in the world, or Christmas Eve. I know it's still Christmas Eve for me, but Audie, I think it's Christmas for you. But before I ask you that, I want to welcome my very special guest, Audie Surley. You may know him from Digital Foundry. He was on my podcast last year, and we had such a great chat. So I thought I'd bring him back. He's going to hang around for a little bit, but then he'll have to dip. But it's he can hang around for as long as you want. But Audie, thank you so much for coming back, man. It's always fun having you on.
Yeah, it's good to see you again. Haven't seen you in a year. I didn't remember we were going to do this until you were like, hey, you said you were going to do this next year. Are you going to do it? And I was like, sure. But it's great to be back. I'm happy to be here for the second time. So I guess this is our new Christmas tradition.
Yeah.
Until next year, well, we break it because you never want to see me again.
Oh no, come on, no, that's not true. No, you're awesome. I remember last year we had a great chat talking about all sorts of nerdy things, and I really liked it. So I guess for those people that don't know who you are, but I mean I think a lot of people do. But why don't you introduce yourself to the listeners and let them know who you are and what you do and all that stuff.
Sure. So, as you mentioned, I was not last time I was on this podcast, but now I am officially part of DF. I do most of the background stuff for the Patreon. I also do videos on the main channel, from reviews to silly stuff, as you can have seen lately if you follow DF. I might have been seen in a Santa beard and doing shenanigans with Phoenix Games. And I also produce and publish games via Sakai Games. So I have two jobs, which I'm really feeling in this holiday season as I approach my first vacation in 2 years.
Now, I got to ask you, last year when we were talking, and my timeline may be a little off, but you had the gig at DF and it was just a matter of announcing it to the world, or you were close to getting the gig. Is that right? Or were you still kind of, because my memory's a little hazy, but I feel like it was a year ago you kind of got the job at DF, right?
Yeah, so it was actually in March that I joined officially, and until March, really, I was just like, couch surfing in the background of DF, basically.
Yep.
I was just a straggler that John had brought in because it was raining outside, and it was in March. I didn't when I was on the podcast last time, I didn't know, but I was on the channel basically every week already.
Yeah,
because it was just like I was either streaming with John or I was in the video officially for whatever reason.
mm-hmm.
And then in March, Richard came to me and was like, "Hey, the audience responds well to you. You do a good job. I really don't know why we're not doing this already, but why don't you join if you have time?" And I was like, "All right, why not? What? How could this hurt anyone?"
And the rest is history.
In the end, it hurt Richard's reputation more than anything. So.
I mean, I gotta say, like, sometimes I see some memes on the DF weeklies come up, and I've been the butt of the joke occasionally. Is that something that is that your work that's going on there?
100% my work.
Oh, right.
So I edit all the weeklies, and that was it was kind of why I joined. Was because like they wanted to kind of freshen up a little bit of the content was amazing and still is, of course, because John, Alex, Tom, they all do amazing work, but I think Rich just kind of wanted to inject a little bit of new energy, so he wanted a new weekly show, he wanted a Patreon, and these are things they felt like I would probably be good at doing.
Yeah.
So
yeah,
and Richard is he's an interesting guy when it comes to stuff like that. He just knows how to kind of see potential in people that they probably don't see themselves, because I had not edited videos until I started. So it's like, how many subscribers do you have? Like 1 million. It's like, you want me to edit the hour-long video every week, you say? It's like, yep, prime time Monday. It's like, all right. So,
So when
yeah.
you first started, I mean, you know, were you kind of a little nervous coming in, feeling like maybe they picked the wrong guy type of thing? Do you kind of have that feel about it? I mean, you're obviously, you've worked with John for many years anyway. You probably didn't have that feeling, but did you kind of feel a little nervous coming in, you know, trying to kind of prove yourself a little bit?
No, not really, because I just never had that mentality in any of my work. Really, if I kind of see it as like I'm gonna do the job I'm gonna do, whether I do it good or not is kind of, by chance, but um, you're gonna get what you get, and I'm confident in what I do. So if you don't like it,
Yeah.
that's fine. Just don't work with me again. But I'm never. I don't know. I'm probably weird like that, but I never get nervous about like proving myself. I just do the best I can,
Yeah.
and it's kind of fake it till you make it kind of thing. You just can you do this? It's like, yeah, I'll do it. And it's like, and then you learn
Yeah.
as you do it and make sure that like, well, I send them something, yeah, I never really gotten any bad feedback, to be honest. So, but Richard is a patient man,
Yeah.
so I'm sure that's why.
Well, I'm very happy that you're on the team. You know, you obviously just add to so much more to the videos and everything, and it's awesome that you're on the team. I did want to ask you though, because you're kind of in a similar situation than me. So, you're a game producer at Sakai Games, and you do DF.
Yeah.
So you're basically like me. I'm a YouTuber, but I also work in game development, right? So essentially, we're talking about the same things. How are you finding the juggle between both of those things? How's that working for you? Because I have my own thoughts on it.
Yeah, so in a way, it's sort of interesting because when I produce video games, I'm very generally I'm kind of at the top of that food chain. I'm the one kind of budgeting out stuff, delegating, doing all this kind of stuff. And while it sounds like teamwork, I often feel like I'm very much um, by myself in that work.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas at DF, it's always kind of a team effort, and everyone has input. So I don't know. I don't know how to really compare them because also the games I produce are so vividly different from what DF would ever touch. I make them touch the games very thoroughly because why shouldn't I? But you know, it's so different for me. I kind of take on two very. I'm very focus oriented, and I'm very when it comes to producing. You can ask John, but like it's kind of Jekyll and Mr. Hyde kind of thing. If you ask me to produce something, I don't screw around with that.
Right.
I'm very kind of like, okay, here's what we do, and if we don't do this, I don't think it's gonna work.
Yeah.
And I'll tell you all the reasons why I don't think it's gonna work.
Mm-hmm.
So with DF, I don't really have to take that mentality. It's more just kind of like, well, you want me to do what now? All right.
Yeah.
I'll have it by Friday.
Right.
So it's probably not the answer you want, but I haven't really put much thought into it because by day I do DF and by night I'm Batman.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah. I mean, it's the answer that you have. I mean, like I think everyone manages, you know, their work differently. Because I kind of I kind of flip it around a little bit because I do kind of by day I'm writing code, and at nighttime I'm doing YouTube stuff. So it's a little different for me, but I definitely understand, you know, that there's a lot of work, especially when it comes time to, you know, you're about to, you know, ship a game or get it ready to get certified or something. I think a producer at that point is you're basically, you know, 40 plus hours a week. You're kind of focused on that part of it. So, you know,
it's yeah. I mean, publishing or delivering, you know, getting the gold out there, so to speak. It's just it's the most nerve-wracking and just stressful thing because generally, at least for me, localizing Japanese games, reverse engineering Japanese engines. It's just like everything that can go wrong is probably going to go wrong. It's going to go wrong the 3 days
Yep.
before delivery.
Right.
And yeah, it's just the nice thing about working with DF though, for my other job, is that the overlap has been nice with developers with their input. I've had a lot of abilities kind of because I don't market my games on DF. Don't get me wrong, I don't do that. But unless you watch like certain reviews, and there might be some games familiar if you know Sakai games. And like if you watch like the Switch OLED, there
Yeah.
might be some familiar games in there that I snuck in.
Right.
But what's been nice for me is like developers have kind of taken an interest to the games I work on, reach out. Even you, I mean, you've tested some games with me.
Yep.
So it's just, it's actually made my life a little bit easier in that sense, because last time I was there, I think I told you that, like, you know, my time in the industry had kind of slowed down a bit at some point, and I had stepped away. You know, I'd worked at many different companies. I've been at Destructoid at some point earlier in my career. So, but I'd taken kind of like a lower profile due to just fatigue.
Mm-hmm.
And then joining DF, no more fatigue. I can't have that.
Yep.
But a very, much better place. And what I've kind of realized now is that I can actually reach out to people. We talked about this a little bit last time as well. Like I can actually ask for help. I can reach out. And it's been kind of interesting to see that change and getting new solutions. Whereas a lot of the things that I used to do was just kind of pray
Yeah.
that things wouldn't go wrong. And now I have people to kind of help me make sure that things don't go wrong.
Very good, very good. Well, yeah, DF is better with you on the team, and I've loved the stuff DF has done this year, and I know you've been a big influence of that and a big part of that. So hopefully that will
you're
continue.
giving me too much credit because I mean the people at DF make me better. It's not that
Sure.
other way around. But the thing about DF and the thing that I do enjoy that I've managed to kind of managed to make possible is that when I joined, I told Rich very specifically that like the people I know at DF, the friends I have at DF, I want everyone to feel those friends. I want everyone to experience that friendship because it's a very straight-laced channel at the moment. And I think in 2021, if anything, people now kind of know that Rich has a pretty good sense of humor. He doesn't take himself very seriously.
Right.
There's a lot of comedic timing in John's videos now that we kind of opened. We allowed for people to kind of get a sense of those friends that I have within DF and make them everyone's friends in that sense. Kind of, I wouldn't say parasocial or anything silly like that, but I would just say that like I've allowed DF to kind of become everyone at DF to become themselves a little bit more.
Mm-hmm.
That's the only thing I would say that I've helped out doing.
Yeah. I mean, I think, from a video editing perspective, I definitely see your influence on a lot of the videos and stuff that you bring. You work very hard behind the scenes, especially with John. I know you worked with him for years, so like I said, I mean, I think that it's you're adding that value to that team, and I know you're kind of playing it down a little bit, but they're very, very lucky to have you. So it's been awesome.
Yeah, with John, that's the start of it was DF Retro, and that's still kind of the main thing. John and I try to do one DF Retro per month now, and kudos to John for allowing me to join, because I mean DF Retro is something he created, something that he should take full credit for.
Oh yeah, and I'm a huge fan of DF Retro. I mean, DF Retro for me is one of the reasons why I do what I do on YouTube. I mean,
yeah,
I watch some of those older DF Retro videos, and I'm like, man, that's so good. I want to do that too, and that's been a big influence on my content as well.
Yeah. So just watching what John did with DF Retro is like proper professional documentaries on video games, and I want to contribute to that. So I'm happy that he allowed me to join the team and do that monthly with him, because it's something that he could have easily, and I wouldn't have blamed him, saying like that's my thing.
Mm-hmm.
I really don't want people stepping on that.
Right.
But he never did that. He was just like, no, like whenever you work on a script with me, it's one of the better episodes I've ever done. So yeah, it's pretty cool.
Awesome. Well, hey, we've got some super chats that are coming through, so I wanna acknowledge the people in the chat. So thank you for everyone for hanging out tonight. You don't have to be here on Christmas Eve, but I really appreciate people hanging out with us here on Christmas Eve, or Christmas if you are in that part of the world where it's already Christmas Day. But let's go through them here real quick. The Gaming Truge, $1, thank you, no message. Thank you for your super chat there. Randall Thor, my good buddy, I am here for the controlled leaks. Happy holidays, MVG. Do we have any controlled leaks tonight, Audie? Anything? I don't think we do. There's nothing to leak, is there? It's Christmas. Nothing's coming out right now.
Yeah, there's nothing. You and I have leaked stuff this year, but
we
won't go into that.
Okay.
We have.
Okay. Well, we'll move on. Joe Rosinski. I'm sorry if I butchered your name there, Joe. $2. Your content is always enjoyable. Merry Christmas. Thank you so much, Joe. Appreciate it, and thank you for being in this stream with us. Adam Reeves, $20. Merry Christmas, mate. Thank you for all the great content over the years. Can't wait to see what you cook up in 2022. Wishing well for you and your family. Thank you, Adam. Appreciate the kind words. 2022 is probably just going to be more of the same. I'm not really one to change the script very, very much. It's just, I'm thinking about more cool content that I can bring to the channel, both, modern topics, or I guess current up-to-date topics that are going on in the world of video games, also the retro stuff as well, which I really like. So thank you Adam Reeves. Jeff Grubb, my good friend, is in the chat. $25. Merry Christmas, Butthead. Come on, I mean, you don't want to call Audie a butthead, Jeff. Come on, let's be respectful.
I'm more of a Beavis.
Let's be respectful to our guests here, but I appreciate the super chat there, Jeff. Good to see you here, and Merry Christmas Eve to you. Let's see here, Christopher Baird, $5. Hello, I love your channel. You are awesome. What video games have you spent the most time playing? Ooh. I think in recent times, I would say Metroid Dread is the game that I've spent the most amount of time playing. I think it's one of those games that just, it's Metroid. When I got the game, I just couldn't put it down, and I've beaten it like 3 times now. In more recent times, I'll say I've been playing a lot of Halo Online with some of the other fellow members of the Spawncast crew. So I'm kind of getting into the Halo Infinite Online thing as well. That's kind of fun. But apart from that, not really much else. It's kind of busy. It's been a busy time. Audie, have you been playing any games? And if you have, what are you playing?
Yeah, it was interesting you said Halo, because I never played Halo before until November, and we did a video on DF about this. My first time playing Halo, and I loved it. So I picked up the Master Chief Collection for Christmas. A little bit late with it, I understand, but yeah, I've loved the aesthetics, the music, and the whole atmosphere of Halo 1, and I've never played it. I always assumed, just kind of from my own prejudice towards FPSs, I don't play first-person shooters much, and I just kind of assumed that it was, not my type of game. And then John was like, no, like, play it. I think it is. And I've been loving it. And
yep.
I love Halo, and I'm only on 2.
Mm-hmm.
So I hear that I have a lot to look forward to. And played a lot of Dread, of course, one of the best games of the year. But next week I guess this is a slight leak, but next week on DF there will be a Game of the Year list from me that I edited up last week.
Yep.
So you can see what I've been playing there.
Okay, well, I will definitely check that out. Yummy Yum Raison. Sorry if I got your name wrong there. I wanted to mod $5. I wanted to mod my PS3 Slim with a 2TB SSD. What is the best method in permamodder? I haven't really been in the PS3 scene for a while, So I don't really know what the best way to perma-mod something is right now for PlayStation 3. But what I always suggest is check out either Modded Warfare's channel, because he's really good at this stuff, or Mr. Mario 2011. They do some really great guides on modding on PlayStation 3 hardware. Christopher Baird, $5. Do you think the Xbox One will be jailbroken? If so, how long will we have to wait? I don't think it will be, Christopher, and it's simply because Microsoft, I think, with the developer mode that they have opened up, where you can just run things in dev mode. You can run emulators like DuckStation and RetroArch and all that stuff. So it's kind of taken the whole thing away from the modding community that they have to kind of figure out how to hack this thing, because you just put it into developer mode, which I understand is not anywhere near as powerful as, because it's kind of native, but it does enough anyway where you can pretty much do most things. So I don't really think it's going to, get modded anytime soon. John R, $5. I'm drunk. Merry Christmas, John. Good to have you in the chat. David Scott, $5. Blink twice if you're being held hostage. I assure you that I'm not. Or you better not be blinking. You better not blink.
Well, it's 3 a.m. If I blink, I fall asleep. I'm just trying to I'll do the Clockwork Orange thing. So. And considering the games you're about to play here, I think I will need to do that.
Yeah, they will put you to sleep. And we'll get to the games here shortly. I'll just read a couple more super chats. $10, Mitch Crane. Are Shiznos allowed in the chat, or is this a high-class establishment? This is definitely not a high-class establishment. And Shiznos are allowed in the chat. Thank you for your donation there, Mitch.
Is that a New Jersey thing? Or is that something else? There's like a chain in New Jersey for sandwiches.
There is a Shiznos chain, isn't there? Yeah, that is correct.
Or is it? Yeah, okay.
Mayo Rice, $5. You guys should play Elf Bowling. It was ported to GBA. I have not played Elf Bowling on the GBA.
I unfortunately have, and do you not have that on the list today?
I do not.
Someone didn't do their research.
Yeah, I didn't. I got these 3 crappy Santa Claus games. We're gonna play through all 3 of them until you either literally fall asleep.
Christmas joy!
So we'll get to those here in a second. Patrick Corrigan, €10. Have you seen Afterplay.io? What do you think? Love your channel. I actually listen to it going to sleep every night, not because it's boring, but because it's relaxing and interesting. Thank you, Patrick. I don't know what Afterplay.io is, but I will check it out based on your recommendation. Audie, have you heard about Afterplay.io at all?
Sorry.
Oh, okay. We'll move on. I'll definitely give that a look though. Let's see here. I'm going through these. Venesaria, good to see you here. Happy holidays. Thank you to everyone here. Thank you, MVG. Audie, thank you for helping me get through work this evening. Keep up the amazing work. It's our pleasure to have you here, Venesaria, so thank you.
Always a good person, always wonderful comments on Twitter, and great personality in the community.
Absolutely. Mr. Pete, 1985, $5. PS3 wasn't hacked until they removed Linux. That is true. As long as
I remember that.
Yeah, man.
I remember they did that.
Remember that back in 2010, I want to say, or something.
Yeah.
Something along those lines.
I was at Destructoid during that time, so I certainly remember that.
Yeah, dev mode is on. As long as dev mode is on Xbox, there is no motivation to hack it. That's exactly right. Developer mode really just kind of takes the motivation away from hacking the system. Arminder Singh, $5. Why do you think that all of Microsoft's Homebrew solutions, XNA Creators Club dev mode, are sandboxed and limited compared to NDA programs? I think it's really just for security reasons. Or maybe not security reasons. Maybe that's not the right thing. But I think most of those kind of sandboxy environments are a lot less powerful in general. They don't want to open up all the CPU cores and the full potential of the GPU. They want to give you a little slice of the hardware, and I think it's almost like dangling the carrot, because if you have enough power to make an indie game and it runs well, given let's say you're using XNA or dev mode, but then you want to do something more, that's when you want to, apply for, developer partnership and try to get some dev hardware, some dev kits or something. But I don't know. I mean, Audie, do you have an opinion on that? I know you've obviously done this for a long time as well. What do you think?
About the Series S, you mean?
Well, in general, yeah, like
the dev mode.
Yeah, I mean, why would they kind of give you a slice of the power of the hardware as compared to just a regular dev kit?
Yeah, I think Microsoft in general, during this generation with Series S and X, I know when we do content with Series S on DF, people get very frustrated with it, and it's like, oh, I didn't do this, and don't really care, and I only care about the X, maximize settings and whatnot.
Yep.
But I have to say that, like, I'll get to the demo, but I'm always so intrigued by what they managed to push out the S, that I find that to be the much more interesting topic to discuss and look at.
Yeah.
And I have a lot of fun with my Series S. And a lot of that has, of course, thanks to the dev mode. And I think, in general, Microsoft just is much better at engaging communities towards their console now. I think they realized that where they differentiate from Sony and Nintendo is that their communication is much more direct and much more encompassing than what the Japanese companies are, for a multitude of reasons that we don't need to go into because it's going to take too long. But I think Microsoft in general, just when it comes to communicating the Xbox, are about the best during this generation.
Right.
Of just getting the message out. What are these consoles and what do we want to do with them and what do we want you to do with them? And then opening up the dev mode just gives you another angle and another platform to create a sense of connection to the console, whether or not it is on a completely hobby basis or doing anything like the emulators that you show off in your videos. I just find it so fascinating, and I think that's kind of one of the reasons. It's just you want to create this kind of synergy, this kind of connection to the Xbox brand. And for students, for hobbyists, a dev mode can really help get that word out, right?
Yep, absolutely. I mean, I think it goes back to like the days of the Net Eurose on PlayStation and stuff. Giving people a taste of development hardware without actually giving them development hardware, right? Is a thing that's been done for many years. So yeah, I think what you say makes a lot of sense.
I mean, it goes back to the Famicom Disk System days. There were software there as well.
True.
To create stuff within BASIC and whatnot. So I mean, it's not a new concept, but I think again, it's just down to communication. I think Microsoft really just does a better job at communicating these different aspects of why you would want to have an Xbox in your home.
Yep.
So, and that's not even talking about the games or whatever is offered for the different consoles, but it's just the consoles themselves. I think Microsoft really turned the tables this generation. And I never had an Xbox. The original Xbox, you'll kill me for this, but I got that for the first time in 2019. I never owned an Xbox before. I knew of your work, obviously, because my friend had MAME and all these things on his Xbox back in the day. But I just I didn't have that connection.
Yeah.
And then with these new consoles, I really feel like I have a certain relationship to the Xbox now. There's a lot for different reasons. So it just tells you just how well they've done.
Yeah. I love the Series S. I think it's a great system. I was someone that was yeah.
I mean, they push so much stuff out of that. I mean, you can look at the worst case examples of how like this doesn't measure up and whatnot, but the things you can do with it, and your videos are a perfect example, right? Just from more nefarious things to the official things. It's just it's such an interesting and unique console that I find it. I kind of root for it. I think it's the underdog thing, right? It's just kind of you gotta love it.
Definitely, yeah.
It's the Luigi of consoles.
I mean, that's a good way to put it. I felt like the Series S when they first announced it was a bit of a a misstep. And this was before it came out, before I actually got a chance to mess around with it, because I didn't really understand why there were 2 SKUs. You know, like it just didn't make sense to me why they would do that. But I mean, it makes a ton of sense now. You know, a year on or a year plus, a month on from the launch, that you know it does make a lot of sense having you know, the budget model and then kind of the premium model, you know, which is something Microsoft has definitely done before as well, with the 360 hardware. Not the hardware itself technically, but you know, they had the Xbox 360 Premium Edition, and they had the Arcade Edition where they cut down features, you know, less hard drive space and all that stuff. So they've definitely experimented with the 2 SKU approach before, but no, I'm a big fan of it. You know, like I've really embraced the Series S. I've got one at home that's in the living room, and I use it a lot actually. It's just a really cool system, you know.
Yeah, for sure. I really love it too. So I'm sure people are not happy with us loving that film, but I'm always happy to see it.
For sure.
So I love it.
All right, Lotan. I don't know what currency that is, so I apologize. But thank you for the donation. Sometimes my PS Vita slows down. Do you think this is due to a bad SD2 Vita? No, I think it's just the Vita. I think it's just the Vita hardware in general. You know, it's. I mean, obviously now it's probably a little less powerful than everything else. So, you know, there's a lot of Vita games that do slow down. So I don't think it's, you know, it's related to your SD card or anything like that. Michael Donheiser, $10. You should do a crossover episode with the Angry Video Game Nerd. I'd love to. If you can reach out, you know, maybe we can set something up next year. I would love to do that.
He's still active?
I believe so, but okay. I could also. Someone's going to tell me in the chat if he's not, but I thought he was still active. But if he is, I'd love to do something with him. Doug Thwaites, $5. Hey MVG, you used a site of mine, Duck Hunt. Duck Hunt. What did I say Duck Hunt for? DeviceHunt.com ages ago on a PS2 jailbreak video, and it was so cool to see it mentioned by someone else whose content I enjoy. Thanks, Doug. You know what? Let me know what video that was, because if I didn't put that website in the credits, I will do that, because I'm usually pretty good at making sure that people get the appropriate credits. So let me know what video that was, and I'll get that updated in the description. Andy XL987, hey Audie and MVG, big fan of you both. Big fan of both your content. Looking forward to 2022 from you both. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Yeah. Thank you so much.
Doug Thwaites, $5 again. And of course, Merry Christmas to yourself and Audie. Thank you. Sergio, $1.99. Love the content, MVG. Happy holidays. Okay, I think we're finally caught up. No, we got one more here from Michael Dunheiser. What is the worst game that you have ever played? Oh, all right, Audie. What do you got for us?
Oh, well, you know, in my line of field...
Is it the game that I'm playing right now?
Well, it could very well be. I'm scared looking at it. I famously, or I guess many people here don't know me, but over DF, I famously have said several times that I strive to collect and have the biggest collection of the worst video games ever made, because everyone else tries to get the best games, so I want to have the worst. It's cost me a lot of money to get to that title of having the worst collection, but I think I'm getting there. Yeah. But the worst one, my goodness, we just did a series called 12 Days of Phoenix, which was based on the Phoenix Games, which was a Dutch publisher on PlayStation 1 and 2, and the Wii as well, and the DS. And man, it really redefined what a video game was for me in the worst ways, because some of those are just absolutely unplayable to an extent that, like, it becomes almost a negative unplayability, that you can actually play it because it's so unplayable. Yeah. There's no way of explaining this in human terms, but some of those Phoenix games, man, really just makes you think about life and try to find some meaning to it, because you desperately need to hold on to it.
Yeah, I mean, I think
You saw some of them. I sent you some of the episodes.
Yeah, no, yeah, absolutely. I'm trying to think of what my worst game is. I don't really know what it would be. There's some really bad Amiga games that I played growing up. You know,
The Amigas.
Yeah.
And that's where you and I grew up, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, the Amiga, man. That was
we're gonna upset some people in the chat, but there are some really
no,
bad
but I love the
Amiga games.
Amiga. The Amiga has some of the best games ever made as
Right.
well. But man,
Yeah, I don't.
yeah, it's not out yet, but I'm just gonna say the Amiga is the worst thing ever made.
Well, yeah, that's interesting. Yeah, the Amico is something that is an interesting console. We'll see what
It's
happens
not.
when it comes.
It
out.
really isn't. I don't know why you keep saying that. It's not that interesting. It's just nothing.
Some people in the chat are saying Spider-Man 64. That's a pretty bad game.
Spider-Man 64?
I wouldn't say it's the worst game ever though.
Wait, did they say Spider-Man 64?
I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Superman 64. That's.
I mean, the
my bad.
Neversoft Spider-Man was ported to N64, and it's not great.
Yeah,
from what I remember.
It's not the worst game though.
No, so Superman 64, that was a Titus joint, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Titus, which is also Amiga Alumni.
Right.
And yeah, I remember my friend bought that, and it was the first time I ever saw him cry because he spent his money on it from his birthday.
So this was a buyer's remorse situation.
Oh, it definitely was, and the reason why he cried was that we had gone. So I'm originally from Norway, and we'd gone to Oslo that day together, and he had bought it there at a store, which like game stores are kind of, especially then and now even more so, I guess, but they were few and far between. So you had to travel distances, you had to travel mountains and oceans to find a video game. And he found Superman 64 that day with his birthday money. We bought it. We took the train home for 3 hours. We put it in the console. And I looked at it and like, this is kind of shit. It's not that good, is it?
Yeah, no, it's not
And
great.
he was bawling because, back then it would take some time for him to save up his money.
Right.
So, yeah, I think that was a pretty bad game.
It's a bad
I heard
game.
that the PlayStation version was leaked, and it's actually better than the N64 game. I still haven't played that prototype.
Yeah, there's a lot of Superman 64s in the chat. Not as bad as Sonic 06. Sonic 06 was pretty rough as well.
It's pretty rough, but I kind of like it at the same time.
There's a charm about it, right?
So tugs at the heartstrings.
So far, this crappy Christmas game that I'm playing is probably worse than most of those. Which incidentally,
also, this game is also kind of shit. You gonna start crying?
Yeah, so we're playing Santa Claus Junior, by the way. So I didn't announce that.
Junior.
So we've got there's three. I found three really crappy Game Boy Advance Christmas games that we're gonna play. We're either gonna just Audie's gonna fall asleep, bored shitless watching this.
As we mentioned, it is 3 a.m. here.
Yep.
I had promised MVG when we ended the stream last year. He was like, "You want to do this again next year, mate?" And I was like, "Oh yeah, sure. Just call me up." And he called me up today. So.
And you were like,
I was like,
shit, I forgot all about that.
It's like, I have a family. It's like, well, I have a stream. It's like, all right, you win.
That's funny. Let's see. Yeah, so I'm playing Santa Claus Junior, and this is on the Analog Pocket as well. So I wanted a chance to stream the Analog Pocket with the dock because I haven't actually done that yet. Audie, do you have your Analog Pocket yet? And if you do, what are your thoughts on it?
Oh, I absolutely have a Pocket. I got the pre-order in last year, and it's arrived right before Christmas. I helped John out with the review on DF.
Right.
So, and I mean, it's not hyperbole to say that, it is the best way to play Game Boy, especially DMG Game Boy era. It's just, there's no better alternative. And playing it on the Mister and stuff, it works fine. But like being able to have this perfect screen, take your cartridges, of which I have quite a few, and just enjoy those games again with, by the way, something that we talked about in our interview on DF, that dot matrix filter.
Oh yeah,
Brother, let me tell you, I get very annoyed at people who do the Game Boy stuff, and then they have that black and white,
yeah,
just standard like Super Game Boy look. And like that's not how it's supposed to look. If you play like Batman, Return of the Joker or something, that's so specifically designed for that dot matrix screen.
right.
Those transparency or those fake transparencies, and that particular shade.
Right.
So the fact that they actually nailed that, I was so happy about it, because I was really curious what they would do with this. I figured they would at least do like a green tint.
Yeah.
But maybe, but they went all the way, and went into great detail to replicate that look. So I really loved it. I was a little bit curious about the dock. I feel like the dock isn't quite there yet. I don't know what you think.
It needs some work. Yeah, I mean,
it certainly does.
It's pretty bare bones right now.
Yeah.
And I watched John's review. In fact, John helped me out with my review a lot, so I owe him a lot of thanks. But yeah, the dock works, as you can see, but there's really not much else that it does, So
That's the like. There's not, that's all it does, and I kind of wish it did at least a few more things.
Right.
But it'll get there. They'll do the firmware updates, I'm sure.
Yeah.
I think this is the biggest product they've ever released, so I'm sure they're gonna actually keep kind of supporting it for quite some time.
No doubt.
But it's just, man, that screen, man. It's just
it's
a thing of beauty.
Yeah, it is.
That screen is like life changing almost. It's just, every game I put into it that I used to play, Balloon Kid, Asterix, all these games I grew up with, it was the first things I put into it, and it's like transformative. It's like, man, even if I played it on emulators, even if I played it on all these backlit mods, which John have,
yep,
they just feel brand new on the Pocket. It just feels so right. So yeah, I love it. If you can get your hands on one, even if you get in Group C or whatever, I've heard that people have to wait quite some time to get those new pre-orders.
Yes.
But it's worth the wait, because also, as you and I just mentioned, now the firmwares kind of aren't there yet in some ways. So by the time you get it, I think the dock and the Pocket itself, with the EverDrive situation, it's probably going to be in a pretty good place. So
I think so too.
Wait a bit,
yeah.
You're going to get into the right time.
Yeah.
So I look forward to Duo as well, but that's further down the line.
Absolutely. A couple more super chats. I'm gonna go over to Streamlabs because I just got told there was some there. So Yo-Yo Yoshio 267 $3.
Yo-Yo Yoshio is like on every stream ever.
Yeah,
like every
just wanted to drop in and say hi, love your videos, and I'm sure I don't need to let anyone know who I am because I seem to be a part of the DF expanded universe now. Well,
yes, like Yo-Yo Yoshio's like budget for stream donations every month is like 3,500. It seems.
Very cool.
In whatever currency.
Nice.
So, but he's a very loved member of the community.
Yeah, thank you again. I remember you from last year. You were in the chat as well, so appreciate you stopping in. Shagan666, 10 euros. Seeing Joe Wood just make me laugh hard. Old school publisher from Austria. Did you ever play the legendary 3D RPGs Gothic 1 and 2? Also published by them. Love your videos. Yes, I played Gothic 1. I never played Gothic 2, but we're going back a long time. Audie, did you get into the Gothic games? Yep.
I played 1. I never played 2.
Yeah, so. Gothic 1 was really good, but man, it was also quite difficult as well from what I recall. But when 2 had come out, I had kind of moved on to other games, so I wasn't really into it as much from what I remember. But no, I appreciate the super chat there, Shagan666. It's raised. Are you a fan of subscription services? I kind of like Game Pass because it's convenient and it's just easy just to press the button and the game is there and you can play it. But generally speaking, I like physical media. I mean, I don't think that's ever going to change for me. I don't really have any other subscription services. Like I don't have like Uplay or EA Play or Ubisoft's thing. But I do appreciate the ease of use of something like Game Pass. It works well. Audie, any comments there? You Game Pass? You have Game Pass in Norway?
Game
I'm
Pass.
sure you do. Yep.
Yeah, I have Game Pass, and I'm still very much a physical gamer,
Yep.
and I prefer, for many reasons, and I'm sure you as well, I prefer to have my games physical. I understand people have moved on to digital, and there's a lot of legit reasons for doing so. It's just that I still feel like we're in a situation where the rights of digital ownership are not good enough for me to feel confident in its availability,
Right.
and all these things. So it's a glorified loan, is my opinion. But I like Games Pass. It gives me a lot of opportunity to play some games, and then I usually, if there's a physical copy of a game I enjoy, I go out and purchase that. So it does allow me to play games and still support them physically.
Absolutely.
So, but I don't have any. I can't remember if I think. I guess I have the Nintendo Switch Online.
Mm-hmm. Yes.
I can't say I ever use it much. It's just a rolling subscription I have, which I never remove.
Yeah. I have it. I'll be honest. I don't really like. I mean, I think the Genesis stuff is really good. In fact, it's very good.
Worked on it.
Yep.
So,
top quality emulation. The N64 stuff. I've made videos about it. People know my thoughts on it. If you don't, check out my video. But I do know that Nintendo will probably fix it over time. I'm hopeful that they will.
No, they won't.
Yes, they will. Come on.
I don't think so.
They have to.
I don't think they will.
Come on, look.
I know they have to. They just won't.
You can't have Ocarina of Time without any fog in it. You're messing with art at that point. Like I feel like if the original devs of OOT looked at that game, they would just be horrified. They'd be like, "You have to fix this. You're messing with the aesthetics of this game right now. We can't have this."
I just don't think it's worth their time or money to look into it. I think Nintendo just they're good at taking care of their legacy, but when it comes to these emulators and these efforts, they never seem to really go and improve them over time. Like they'll make new services, they'll put out new code basically, but I never see them really improving on it. It's just kind of like, did it work? No. All right. Well, next time.
Yep. Well, we'll see. Hopefully they will fix it. But I also understand where you're coming from as well. That this is something that they may not ever fix, but I'm hopeful they will. But maybe I'm just a little naive about that as well. We'll see. Matt Jansen, $5 MVG. Really enjoy your perspective on the Spawncast. It's been a long day. Very nice to veg out and hear you guys chat. Merry Christmas. Thank you so much, Matt. We appreciate it. That's why we're here, so everyone can and enjoy their holiday. Lotan again with a super chat. What is the best underrated PSP game and why is it the third birthday? By the way, shekels, the currency in Israel. Thank you, Lotan. Appreciate that.
Third birthday, Parasite Eve 3 unofficially is not under that is. I love Parasite Eve 1 and I love 2. I do not love the third birthday for so many reasons. But the real answer to that question is Rei Choaniki. Choaniki Zero. That is that is the most underappreciated.
Why did I know you're going to say that?
Yeah, well, because it's the only real answer. So the PSP is great, man. I love the PSP.
Me too. And I think it's a system that is just kind of aging like fine wine right now. I think about that system and I love everything about it.
And talking about emulation, I feel like the PSP is like one of the best systems to see the true potential of emulation and what it can bring to a system and kind of improve upon what was there. Because the PSP has been there for a long time, kind of showcasing that more so than when you look at something like the Super Nintendo, right, and you look at improving it. For the longest time, it was like 2XI and these kind of things. But when it came to the Nintendo DS and PSP emulators, when you can increase the native resolution of those handheld games and all the other things that they've been doing, it really, at least for me, helped open a lot of people's eyes to the potential of emulation. Mm-hmm. So, especially PSP, I feel like that one is so great when it comes to that.
All right, you want to see a bad Christmas game?
Oh no. I try to avoid looking at the game screen, but this is based on the movie, right?
I think so.
Oh no, there he is. It's Tim Allen. Is this his second game appearance after like Home Improvement?
I think you're right.
Can someone bring us up to speed about the Tim Allen like gamography?
Someone will know. Someone will know.
Oh, someone has them all. You know that, right? Someone in the chat is like, "Oh, I actually have every Tim Allen game signed by Tim Allen."
Pixel Pigeon, £10. Here's to two of my favorite YouTubers. Thank you for another year of great content from you both. Merry Christmas and a Bubsy New Year.
Very heartwarming. Thank you. So I'm sorry if people, if you feel like I'm just kind of down here. It's just, again, it is so late.
Yeah. So I will try next year to have this at a more reasonable time so Audie can...
Oh, so I'm coming back next year.
If you want to. It's an open invitation. You're always welcome. I mean, I only live stream once a year, so you're more than welcome to come back.
I love it. I love it. So hopefully one day we can actually do some other podcasts and stuff too. You have been on DF's direct show.
Yeah, I've filled in for Richard a few times.
Yes.
Yeah. I'm still.
That was great.
I'm still, just in absolute awe of that man. So it's always great to.
We got to get you on with Richard, though. That's true.
Actually, well, I've never been on when Rich was on the show. It's always, he's on break and I'm
John,
on.
I think. Yeah. So yeah, I'll make sure that you go on with Rich. I think. I mean, he loves your work.
Oh
so
yeah.
It seems like it's.
Rich and I talk quite a bit actually on Twitter and DMs. He's. I think the last time I spoke to him was that DRM issue with Resident Evil 7 Village, where because he was asking me about it. He's like, hey, were you able to reproduce this? And I said yes, and I showed him exactly what happened, and he was just absolutely blown away by the fact that the frame rate just completely cut in half, and he couldn't believe it.
I mean, he single-handedly kind of buckled Capcom at their knees with that. I mean, he he went to town, and that's a great thing about Rich. I mean, he's just so good at what he does, and he doesn't have an agenda. Rich is like the most neutral man in the industry, really. Like, he doesn't have any opinion on anything. I talk to him every day, and it's just kind of like he's always in the middle of like, if it's good, it's good. If it's bad, it's bad. He doesn't really involve himself. But that was a situation where he just kind of like, he took the bull by the horn. He's just like, no, we're gonna make a change here. Mm-hmm. You can't let this slide. And man, he did it. I mean, those 2 videos he did made Capcom fix it to a certain extent.
I know it's interesting, for you guys, because I mean, you guys are obviously very close with a lot of publishers, and you have working relationships with a lot of them. So I guess it's very touchy as well when you're kind of criticizing, I guess, right, is the word that I would use.
Actually, no. You'd be surprised about that, because I wouldn't say we have a working relationship with publishers. Mm-hmm. I mean, it's just, we're a site that reviews and analyzes video game tech and video games. But we do it fairly, and no one on the team goes in with intentions of any kind of like, we never like to sideline people. We never like to, just take them by surprise by saying like this is terrible or anything like that. We generally give people a heads up because we want these games and that tech to be as good as possible. That goes for both the audience, the consumers,
Yeah.
but also the publishers and the developers. We share our results very often with them, and that's allowed us to kind of have, well, it's not a working relationship. It's just a good relationship,
Right.
Because they trust. This is something that comes down to the expertise of Rich, Alex, and John, because they're amazing at what they do. So when they come to publishers or developers and say, "Hey, I found these things, and here's how I think you can fix it," it's generally exactly what they needed to fix it.
Right.
So, yeah, it's not too dicey with it. There's some, I mean, not gonna go into details about it, but there's probably some that like don't appreciate it.
Yeah.
And then kind of like have a bit of a kind of like, oh well, I don't really care about your results. I released the game and that's it.
Yeah.
But most, like 99 or 95% of all publishers and all developers are very happy to hear, feedback from us.
Yeah, no doubt about that. I mean, I think you guys do amazing work, and it's very obviously very well respected. So they should take notice of the stuff that you guys do. And in our studios, $2 Canadian. Coast to Coast is a better song than Pacific Drive. I'm glad you liked Coast to Coast. I like both of them. But I appreciate the super chat there. Pixelated Pigeon again. Oh, we already read that one. Alberto, $5, €5. It's Christmas here in Italy, so have a great holiday, everyone. I've always wondered why we still cannot have RT 60 FPS interpolation in games. Real-time 60 FPS interpolation in games. I think maybe he's talking about like frame rate doubling potentially. That's a great question. I don't really know. I mean, I think technically speaking, it's not a easy problem to solve for. But yeah, I mean, I'm not really sure on that one, to be honest with you. There's probably a lot of technical reasons why that would be the case. I would say
You know better than me. So.
yeah, I would say check out Jason Ronald. He's been doing the rounds on different podcasts, and DF actually did an episode on the back and pat stuff for Xbox Series X and the 60 FPS patches and stuff. So there's probably some good tech info there that you probably want to check out. An irate fan, £2. Thank you both, but no RoboCod at Christmas. Come on, RoboCod is not a Christmas game, is it?
Is it not?
I don't think it is.
I would say it's the first stage is very Christmassy.
Oh, come on! What about Tim Allen and what we're playing right now? This is Christmas, not.
Know what this is? This is kind of shit. You know what I mean? This is kind of shit.
This is pretty bad. I'm not gonna lie.
He does double jump though. I mean, I'm sort of surprised by the fact that they actually programmed the proper like dynamic double jump.
Yeah.
So
this is this is a Metroidvania right here.
Symphony of the Christmas.
Symphony of the Christmas. Danny Stacks, $2. Online services stuck in 2006.
I think he's talking about Nintendo.
Oh, he's talking about Nintendo. Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I mean, the Switch Online stuff, I mean, I've talked about it on my videos and on Twitter. I don't want to rant on it here. It's Christmas Eve, but you guys know my thoughts on it, so appreciate the super chat. Alex Gavin, $5. How do PC gamers reconcile their desire for physical media in a modern age? I'm going to assume every physical evangelist prefers console games. I've thought about this.
They just moved to Germany because they keep releasing physicals there.
With the actual physical media, or is it with a piece of paper in the box?
So surprisingly, there's a large amount of actual like DVDs with the games on them. But for larger releases, you won't get that. But
yeah,
whenever I go to like MediaMarkt or Saturn in Germany, because I go to Germany quite often for work, I always see all these like piles and piles of PC games being still released there. So there's still places in the world where a physical PC gamer can live and be happy.
Good to hear. Yeah, I was not aware. Like, I kind of was going to say that most PC gamers today just buy old big box PC games to to satisfy that need.
I got a few just in the mail a couple of days ago.
Anything good?
They're all terrible.
Oh,
But
couple more super chats. Yoshio again, $3. If you think leaving a subscription is going, let me say that again. If you think leaving a subscription going indefinitely is bad, I forgot I subscribed to Humble Bundle yearly for 7 years, so I have hundreds of games backed up. I just give them away. I promise I'm not a millionaire, just irresponsible with money.
oh, well, that's good to know.
It is good to know. I mean, that's the same as me. That's the same as me having like a World of Warcraft subscription I haven't cancelled in like 15 years or something, right? Like it's not that I've done that or anything, but I think that's the point of subscription services. That's why they get you. It's like you subscribe and then you forget about it, and then 3 years has passed, and all of a sudden you've kind of just you've given this company all this money that you haven't really, done anything with. So I think that's what they try to do to get you,
Yeah, if you leave the price at like a single digit, like a $9.99 type situation, most people like psychologically won't remember that. It's not enough money to register that like you're just leaving it running. So especially when it's stuff like Humble Bundle, which I think generally is like what, I guess it depends, but
Yeah.
I never subscribed to the Humble Bundle stuff. I just bought some other bundles and always wondered if it contributes to devaluing games or not, but that's a different conversation. But
right.
yeah, like you just leave those things running. I don't think I've had too many running outside of the Nintendo one though. I'm trying to remember because I should go cancel them after the stream if I come up with them, right?
Yeah, I always have that moment of panic where I'm like, I'm just going to cancel all these things I don't even use anymore,
Right.
But no, I definitely get what he's saying there. Erok 2K6 $10. Merry Christmas, MVG and Audi and chat. Perfect stream to run while I clean up and repair this lot of Famicom, Super Famicom, and Sharp Twins I've received from Japan. Well, hey, we're happy to be right there with you as you're.
Are you using the Q-tip and solution for that? You got to be a little bit careful with what you use. So let us know what you're using. But yeah, I mean, I spend a lot of time polishing my Famicom stuff. So I have a pretty sizable Famicom. That is one of my main systems I collect is the Famicom. So I'm always happy to see people collecting for that. There's so much great stuff on that.
Absolutely.
So
Great
I've been
system.
trying to collect more C64. I mean, I've had some from my childhood, but there's been a few games I wanted to get, and it's surprisingly kind of difficult to find C64 games.
What are you looking for? I have some stuff. What are you looking for in particular?
Well, obviously, I want to get the proper like Last Ninja physical releases because I never got those back in the day. I have the Turrican stuff. I have Turrican 1 and 2 on Commodore, and I have the 3 boxes on Amiga now.
Yep.
And what else was I looking for on Flimbo's Quest?
Oh,
is
yeah.
another one I'm looking
Great game.
for.
System 3.
Great game.
Yep.
Great game. Yeah. System 3 in general, I love their stuff. Remarkably, they're still around to this day.
Yeah.
So I had a great opportunity to work with some System 3 people back in the day, and I worked on several projects with Ben Dalglish, who rest in peace. So yeah, I have a lot of affinity for System 3.
Oh yeah, absolute legends in the scene and the C64 days. I don't have Last Ninja, unfortunately. That's something that I want to get my hands on as well. I used to have it on cassette back in the day, and I don't know.
Do you prefer diskettes or cassettes when it comes to Commodore?
I kind of like both. Like there's charm. There's charm about both, right? Because like you know those big cassette. There's a certain name for them, but those cassette cases where where it was kind of bigger than just a regular cassette case. That the game was in. I love that stuff. So I kind of like
The
I like both.
plasticky one? Or...
Yeah, the plasticky ones. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
So I'm kind of into both. Like, yeah, I like both. I don't know what to say. Like the discs and cassettes have different kind of things about them. Obviously, you don't want to be loading games off cassette in this day and age because it takes forever. But, but yeah, I love it.
I was so shocked a few. I used to work, and I still work very closely with Chris Holzbeck, and a few years ago I was at his place, and he was cleaning out stuff, and I was just, Chris didn't have any sentimentality for stuff, so I was just, basically going into storage and picking whatever I wanted from his personal collection. And I kind of jokingly asked him, like, do you have like a boxed Gianna Sisters? Like from back in the day. I was like, oh yeah, I had that, but I gave it away. I gave it away to someone a few years ago. It's like, you gave it away to someone a few years ago, and it wasn't me. And then I told him, like, you know what that goes for, right? It's like, yes. I kick myself every day that I didn't sell it to this person.
Oh man.
And, so
yeah,
I could have gone home with Gianna Sisters C64 if I just was a few years earlier, I guess.
That'd be pretty sweet to find a copy of that in this day and age.
Yeah, and he had one. So I've seen several copies of it now because I used to work a lot with the Factor 5 guys, and some of them still have.
Yeah.
One of them has 2 copies of it, believe it or not. Since there's like those things goes for like thousands of dollars.
Oh, I bet.
So yeah, it's. But I love C64 collecting.
Oh, same. I'm a huge fan. So check out this mechanic, Waddy. I'm gonna press the right button, and he's gonna like drop a tank on the ground, and then just crash through the ice there. How cool is that? This game is awesome. I love it. This is like the best Christmas game ever.
This game's kind of shit, right?
No, it's terrible. It's absolutely terrible. But there's a third Christmas game which I think is worse than the 2 that I've already played. So I'll put that on here shortly.
Great! Wonderful! I can't wait. I see Yo-Yo Yoshu is in the chat. I mean, he's not paying for this one, but I mean, let's give him some slack here.
Oh yeah,
he needs to feed himself. But he says, "What is the best C64 to get?" And
that's a tough question.
Yeah, that is a tough question because I guess some of the later models after the Amiga casings, some of them are technically better, I guess. But I can't play my Commodore. I have 3 different Commodores, 2 of which are the same though. But like, I can't play Commodore unless I use the breadbox.
Because the SID's different, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
The SID's
that's
different.
one thing. I mean, the SID's much better, but it's not the most reliable thing, especially with age. But it's just the aesthetic, the feel, the whole thing. You have to get a breadbox C64. So
yeah,
there's no alternative.
I would say I would agree with that. I don't have a breadbox right now. I've just got the what's it, the C64C, the later model. But the SID chip in the earlier breadbox is, this is it's kind of, people have different opinions on this, but some people love the C64C SID chip, and some people loathe it. Like, they're saying it's too much of a departure from the original.
I'm more in the middle, but I mean, I prefer the older.
Yeah. Yeah, but I don't have a breadbox, at least not right now, but yeah.
I'm really shocked by this revelation here. Like, you have a ROM of Tim Allen's Santa Claus, but you do not have the breadbox C64.
I don't know how to break this piece of ice, and I'm getting to the point where I'm just like, F this game.
I'm reading the manual right now.
I'm ready to move on to the next game.
Yeah, it says in the manual, you turn the game off and you never turn it back on. Yeah.
Yeah, I think...
see Sam Makovic is in the the chat as well.
Oh yeah,
From
good.
Ars Technica.
Yeah, good to see you here, Sam. Merry Christmas, Audie and MVG. Love from Seattle. Thank you for stopping in. Appreciate it. We've got another super chat here, $25. McG-Man80, Merry Christmas. Always watch your great videos. Thank you so much. Much appreciated. Dr. Smooth, $4.99, no message. Thank you so much. Michael Mashed Potato, $4.99.
Oh.
Merry Christmas, MVG, and Merry Christmas to everyone watching. Merry Christmas, Michael Mashed Potato. Thank you for stopping in. Plume with £5. I'm really looking forward to my Steam Deck. Have you guys pre-ordered? Are you looking forward to it? Yes, I have. I have pre-ordered. I don't know when I'm getting mine.
At my company, we've had the Steam Deck since like.
Yep. We have
September?
We have a dev kit at Night Dive, but I don't actually have my hands on one. It's with someone else, but I am waiting for mine to arrive. I guess in February. We'll see. Hopefully it does, but I will definitely be doing a lot of deep dive analysis on the Steam Deck because I'm very interested in that piece of hardware. So
I'm sure you are.
Yep.
I'm sure you are.
All right, let's play this last crappy Christmas game that I have here. Let's quit this.
I will stay for the last crappy Christmas game.
Yeah,
and take a few more questions, and then I'll jump out and actually go to sleep.
I appreciate it. So the last one is Santa Claus 3. No, wait, no. It's Santa Claus Saves the Earth. That's the one we're playing.
Yes,
this
classic.
This game sucks so bad. Is this the one that you asked me to you gave me like a list of games that I should play? Was this one of those games on the list?
So the first year that I started helping DF, John wanted us to do a Christmas special, and I was like, all right. And we actually done a Christmas special every year, this year being 12 Days of Phoenix. But when we did the first one, we did the CDI Christmas with the bonus of Santa Claus Saves the Earth. And it is a game. I guess it is a game.
Yep.
It should be. But it's something of a miracle. I guess I shouldn't say what's the opposite of a miracle?
A disaster? A total disaster?
Yeah, I guess so.
Yeah.
It's a miraculous disaster. And I played the PlayStation version, which is just it's the same game. It's just the GBA game ported over to PlayStation.
That's funny.
You'd think they at least add like, Tom Tallarico soundtrack or something to it, but like
I don't know. I'm getting a Shadow of the Beast vibe looking at this attract.
Yeah, I mean, let's let's be honest here. I mean, that is the comparisons we all are making right now. Shadow of the Beast. But yeah, this game really did change me in ways that I didn't know I could be changed. So.
Well,
and I figured you would have to get the same experience as me. So
we'll give it a go, and
I'll stay up to 3 a.m. You play Santa Claus Saves the Earth, and we're kind of even.
I don't know how long I'm going to play this game for. This game already sucks.
Well, we agreed that you would finish it, so I think you're our man of your word. So we'll stick to that.
Now, when you say finish it, do you mean like pulling the cartridge out and like? Destroying the
whichever ending you want to go for, whether or not it's breaking your pocket or actually finishing the game.
So what am I doing here? All right, I'm picking up these green gold coins.
Obviously, you're Santa.
I'm picking up these green gold coins, and then it's filling up my health bar. Now, all right. So there's a punch button as well. So yeah, this is Shadow of the Beast, right?
Yes, I mean,
yeah,
it's Shadow of Christmas.
Shadow of Christmas. And then there's like a CRT here? What's that about? So what do I do here? Nothing?
Well, I forgot to tell you that this game was actually designed by Mr. John Lemon.
I mean, if it was, there would be a lot of CRTs in there, no doubt.
And it would be worse.
So now we have blue coins. All right. This has the most floaty controls ever. And
you say floaty, I say margin of error.
This is pretty bad. Look, those other two games are way better than this one. This is probably the worst
You
Christmas
can double
game.
jump in Santa Claus 3.
True,
so,
true. And there was a Metroidvania as well. You know, I had a tank where I could like use it to, or not a tank. I had a snow plow where I could break through the ice and shovel it.
Wouldn't it be technically an Xmasvania?
Yes, yes, it would be. Oh man, this game sucks so bad. You did not make it. All right, let's see if we can make it. While I'm waiting, waiting for that to reload, let's read some more super chats here real quick. Let's see. Pro Pakistani, $20 with a nice animated gift. Thank you for your donation. Defunct Ninja, $1.49. Thank you so much. And I think we're up to date. Let's try that again. I'm getting a feel for this game.
Yeah, it gets better the more you play it.
This game is terrible. So, you smack him with your
sack.
Your sack here. Yeah.
Just say it. You swing your sack around and hurt people.
You swing the sack around and hurt people. All right.
Which is also something you can say about Rich.
I would never say that about Rich.
I would. Live on air.
Knowing Rich is probably watching this right now. He'll catch the
Yes, of course. I mean, he had the choice of being with his family or watching this, and he made the right choice.
Yes, someone in the chat said the clown picture is nightmare-inducing, and I tend to agree. That clown picture is very creepy looking.
Well, someone made that.
Someone did make it.
Someone drew that. Like, you kind of have to ask yourself why, and what was the artistic and
so I was
message.
I was gonna I don't have this on my PS1, but I was going to break out my.
You don't?
No.
Are you telling me you do not have a copy of this game?
I do not. I'm playing this on a Everdrive. I'm completely cheating. So there's that.
Learning a lot about you tonight.
Yeah.
No Breadbox 364. No Santa Claus Saves the Earth.
No, unfortunately.
I think we might be dealing with a phony on this stream.
Speaking of C64, there's been some really great homebrew efforts that have come out recently that I'm very interested in.
Yes.
And the one,
absolutely. Sarah Jane Avery, man.
Absolutely.
Just, she's one of the best in the scene, any scene. So Sarah's work, she's incredible, and I think the C64 currently is in like probably the best place it's been in since the 80s.
Yeah.
Where you have all these incredible actual physically released games even, but you have like Soul Force.
Yes.
You had Sam's Journey a few years ago, which is coming to the NES now.
Is that right?
You have, it's coming to the NES in summer next year.
Very nice.
And Sarah made also the Briley Witch Chronicles, which is a JRPG on the C64.
Yep.
There's just so much stuff coming out for that.
There was. Did you see? Look! I found a hidden room. Look at that. Key. Did you see the Sonic the Hedgehog port?
Yes, I did see that. And I mean, just incredible. I know some people were like, "Oh man, the music is slow," but it's like, man, if you grew up in Europe, that was the music.
I was going to say that. I was going to say, is that just a PAL NTSC kind of thing that's going on there? Because
I'm guessing in the case of like this effort, the CC4 mod or Homebrew, that's completely coded from scratch.
Right.
I think that was just artistic choice because I think he could have probably done that at full speed.
Right.
But people who grew up with Sonic on Mega Drive or Master System in Europe, that was the speed we had. And, I didn't hear the full, like the regular speed Sonic, like Green Hill Zone. I didn't hear that until I went to the US for the first time in, that would have been 2003, I think. And I remember playing Mega Drive / Genesis at my buddy's place that I was staying with, and we played Sonic, and I was like, man, what's up with, like, there's something wrong with your Sonic game.
Yeah.
And he's like, no. And it was kind of like eye-opening, because I knew about 50 and 60 hertz, like the difference is I used to import games,
Mm-hmm.
but I never thought about the fact that like Sonic's speed being that broken.
Right.
So, and I had a modded Mega Drive, so I think I was under the impression that this was the speed because I don't think the mod worked properly.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm guessing I played a lot of games I imported. If they worked, it's still at 50.
Right. Yeah, I mean, the first time I saw the YouTube video kind of demonstrating the game, I mean, as someone that has predominantly played the game in NTSC regions, I knew the sound was slow, and then I think people were saying, "Well, why is the sound slow?" And the first thing I thought of was, "Well, it probably sounds right on a European Mega Drive, you know." So I
Yeah.
don't think there's any issue at all. It's really, you know, it's just one of those things where, you know, the NTSC version would probably have the correct sound. So that's kind of what I was expecting. But I haven't played it yet. But man, it looks really awesome. And yeah, I'm definitely am
I
going to
love
check it
that
out.
Master System Sonic as well. I mean, I actually think that's a really good platformer. It's slower than
Right.
general Sonic game, but I really just enjoy the level design and the pace of it. So, and it was the Super Mario Homebrew
Yes.
on C4 last year or
Yep.
2 years ago now.
I think
which
I think it was
also
last year.
excellent.
Yeah, Nintendo, you know, you took it down, of course, because that's what they do.
Yeah, well, that's what they do.
Yep.
But yeah, so it's I really do like demakes and stuff like that too. I love um, demakes for consoles in general. But I think still my favorite thing is just seeing all these new CC4 games come out and kind of, in some ways, really compete
Mm-hmm.
as like heavy contenders for the best games I played at any given year they're released. Like, it's just incredible to see what you still can push out of the C64 with some, you know, like Sarah Jane Avery's ingenuity when it comes to programming. It's just,
Yeah.
you can still make some of the best gaming experiences on some of the weakest consoles or microcomputers on the market.
I mean, that's what I love about not just the C64, but any system that has a new game developed for it. Game Boy,
Yeah.
obviously has a very big community, and right now, I mean, you know, with the Pocket coming out, the GB Studio kind of integration
Studio. Yeah.
is something that I'm interested in. So I may actually start looking at some more videos on developing games on the GBA next year on the channel, because I'm really into the GB Studio stuff right now. So I'm kind of getting into that. So
It's so like, you know, I joined it like when I look at some stuff like the GB Studio and many other things, but like I remember when I joined the games industry, I was an intern, and it was at Funcom when I was 18, yeah, back in 2000 something,
Yeah.
back in 2001 or whatever, and it was such a boys' club back then.
Right.
You know, it was all about just kind of staying up all night, drinking, coding, sleeping under the desk.
Yep.
Like, I thought just the process of creating video games was a very toxic one. And, you know, being a retro gamer primarily even by that point, still playing, you know, primarily my Super Nintendo, Game Boy, C64, and not, you know, I was falling out of modern retro gaming. I was falling out of modern gaming by that point even.
right.
But like, when I look at stuff like GB Studio, when I look at all these homebrew efforts, when I like, I'm so happy about the fact that we're making the entry into video games so much friendlier, easier, and manageable on life, balance, health. It's just great to see, because that was something that when I was working very intently in the industry back in like 2010 and whatnot, I always felt like this is an area I wanted to work harder.
Yeah.
Was like make it more acceptable, and when I see stuff like this, I'm just really happy. It's
Yeah.
a weird rant, I know,
No,
but
no,
I'm
no.
just so happy to see like video gaming as an industry become more open, because it was artificially, and I'm sure you know, like you were there.
Hmm.
It was kind of artificially, I guess gatekeeping is the word, but it was like it was made artificially hard to become an industry person, and I just didn't get it. Why it had to be that way? People accepted me in because I had knowledge and I had certain talents,
Hmm.
but I always wondered why everyone else couldn't kind of experience this same industry that I want to be in.
Right.
So
I mean, is it fair to say that like the barriers of entry into the industry now is a lot easier? Because I mean, you have really a pick of any. You can either do something on really cool retro hardware with FPGA. You can use kind of open source development tools like GB Studio, and any number of dev environments for say the Commodore 64.
yeah,
You've got Unity and obviously Unreal Engine and Game Maker and all that stuff. Would you agree that, well, would you say that it is easier these days to kind of step into the industry, not necessarily make it, make a name for yourself, because I think it's
yeah,
probably a
because that's
lot
different.
harder, but getting into
Yeah,
the industry.
I definitely think that getting into the industry and finding your place in the industry, because when we look at the industry, we have the wrong mindset of looking at we're always looking up. We're looking towards the top, like making the most money or being the most famous or having the most sales. Like, but an industry, whether or not it's movies, whether or not it's video games, music, there's so many avenues, there's so many places.
Hmm.
It's about finding your comfort. It's about finding your audience. It's about finding your voice, that is important, and getting experiences that mean something to you, not necessarily just getting you know a paycheck that's larger than the other person's. But it's actually finding yourself within the industry that's important, and I think this has become easier
Right.
because of course there's ways more tools for it. And I look at it very similarly to when you remember when camcorders came out, became public, like when everyone could get a camcorder. A lot of movie studios and stuff were saying that like it was going to devalue movies. That was actually a conversation going on, and it's kind of the similar thing here, where it's like, no, the tools of learning, the tools of giving experience, the tools of becoming appreciative of the medium and the industry is there and it's been made more accessible. But people are still going to primarily go see the blockbusters.
Yeah.
That's still what is considered number one. It's just that more people can now also find themselves within the industry and do indie movies, indie games,
Hmm.
these kinds of things, and actually find experiences and give experiences
Yeah.
that mean a lot. I mean, I think most of us would agree that the more personal experiences we've had with video games in the last 10 years have probably come from indie studios. Like, people have a lot of things to say about Celeste, for example,
Yep.
and games like that. Fata Morgana, which was released by LRG recently.
Hmm.
Experiences like that, you're not going to get that from Activision. You're not
Right.
going to get that from EA, and that's okay, because there is space for both of them in the industry.
Yeah. I agree. I mean, I think, in recent times, indie games have really come into their own. I mean, they've always been very, very, very good and very important.
I mean, we
But,
come from Amiga and C64. We know,
right.
like, the indies were there in the 80s.
Yep.
So,
Well, I mean, I think the other thing, is a lot of indie devs, a lot of indie studios that make games did come from the Amiga, and a lot of them, not a lot of them, but
oh,
some of
yeah.
them came from the demo scene. The guys that did Ori,
Yep.
Moon, their Amiga, demo coders from back in the day and stuff like that. So I think, it's really cool to see that creative talent just being utilized in amazing games that get made,
Right.
in this day and age. So I'm a big fan of it, you know.
Yeah, I mean, I think the indie scene that blew up in the 2010s, it is very much similar to what we saw in like the late 80s, early 90s on the Amiga, where, the tools were made available. You had all these European small studios starting up, and you had like a new industry, a new spot in the industry opening up.
Mm-hmm.
And then in 2010, we started seeing it with indie games in the US as well. Not really sure which one. I've done research on this several times, but I always forget kind of where this all started with like the indie games. But there's like one release in the early 2010s that really kicked off, right?
You mean like Braid or Limbo or one of those games? Yeah,
those kind of games.
Right. I think it was Braid. Someone will know in the chat, but I think Braid, Limbo, or something along those lines was probably it. Because I mean, you know, the whole Xbox Live Arcade thing was really big, you know, and those games, those bite-sized games that were coming out, were really.
It was like Castle Crashers.
And, Marble Blast Ultra was another one that I really liked as well. Bastion was a big one as well. So I mean, I think it was, you know, those types of things that really kind of kickstarted the whole movement, you know. And I mean, these days I can't even imagine video games without indie games. You know, you've got games like Hades, you know, that they're winning awards, and you got Ori, that is, you know, one of the best games that has been made in the last couple of years. You know, it's amazing to see, you know.
Yeah, you're right, totally right. That like because the budgets of like AAA gaming is almost unsustainable,
right?
And these consoles wouldn't be able to really keep up with demand unless they opened up to the indies. And kudos to them, because I mean, when I started working on games, you know, those consoles were almost completely locked.
Yeah,
it was very hard to get development deals with all three. Xbox was easier than the two others, I remember.
Yeah.
And then with like PlayStation 4, and especially with the Switch and stuff, it's been incredible to see just how easy, and relatively, I shouldn't say it's easy to give people the wrong idea, but you know, these days it's much more about having a good idea, a good conversation, and you're well on your way. Back in the day, it required a lot more red tape until you could even think of going on a console.
Yeah, I mean, I totally agree with that. You know, it's really kind of great to see how things have come, you know, in this day and age. So I'm all about it. I'm going to read some more super chats, and Audie, I'm going to give you the courtesy of finishing up here shortly. You've been a very gracious guest, and I appreciate you hanging around. I've had enough of these terrible Christmas games myself. So, but we'll read a few more super chats, and we'll finish up here in the next 10 minutes or so. But let me just get caught up here. Alpha AX $5. If the future is supposed to be all digital downloads and streaming, are these massive game downloads ever going to go away in a timely manner? No, I think games are just going to get larger. You know, budgets are going to get bigger. Games are going to get more advanced. I think the size of games is just only going to increase. You know, even though there's some really interesting tech around SSD technology and not as much reuse of assets and stuff, I think ultimately what we'll find is, and we're seeing it now, is that, you know, a 100 gigabyte game download doesn't really seem that surprising anymore, you know. So,
not at all.
Yep.
So that's it. I mean, I guess if you're on limited data, yes, which some places are, but I mean, here in Europe, that would be nothing.
Absolutely. Yeah. Achievement, $5. Merry Christmas, gentlemen. After seeing UE5 Matrix and realizing Redfall comes soon and is UE5, I imagine the CGI trailer is pretty close to gameplay. The Matrix demo, Audie, did you mess around with that at all?
Yeah, I took a look at it. We did a video on DF about it, about the whole experience.
I thought it was really, I mean, technically incredible. One thing I will say is I want to see that running at 60, and I don't know if this generation is capable.
I mean, the experience to me, like, I've had this conversation with Alex as well, and it's like, it's a filmatic experience, and I don't feel the need to see it at 60. But I'm not a tech heavy person. Like, I understand the curiosity for it,
Mm-hmm.
but I kind of feel like the compositional values of that experience, as interactive as it is, like
Mm-hmm.
it works fine at 30.
Yeah. Um, I mean, I think that there's two parts to this. You know, the way that they presented it obviously was a very filmic, cinematic experience. It looked very realistic. It was like you were watching a movie. You were in the movie, so I get that. But I also feel like, you know, this generation of console, the Series X, the PS5, they've told us that, you know, it's all about 60 FPS. You know, it's all about high frame rates and all that stuff. So I would like to see it. I don't know if this generation is capable of giving it to us, but we'll see, you know. But UE5 looks incredible, and I think there's going to be some really cool stuff that comes out of that. Bat Conquer, $5. Merry Christmas, MVG. PS, I hope we get a new Tour-Up game someday. So do I.
So do I.
Yeah. Yeah.
Great.
We'll see what happens with Turok. Yeah, we'll see what happens.
Did you ever
there.
play the game Rocks?
I did, yes. I don't care.
Music.
I love the music. The game is pretty average, but I love the music. It's worth playing for the music alone. You know,
Alberto Gonzalez. I mean, he's
legend.
I mean,
Yeah.
he is a legend, but I don't think he gets enough. You know what? You and I should do like a video on Alberto Gonzalez together. We worked on two videos, I think.
Yep.
In 2021,
Yep.
and I think the next one I want to like highlight just the mastery of Alberto Gonzalez on the Game Boy specifically, because he did stuff on other consoles, but he was someone that managed to he did graphics and music on Game Boy, and he did parallax on Game Boy.
Yep.
Which is very difficult. He pushed out some incredible music that like sound like it's beyond the capabilities of the Game Boy at times. Lots of arpeggios and stuff like that. But and he did that on a Spectrum. He used a Spectrum tracker to do the notation for Game Boy. So I mean, he's just an incredible guy and really deserves way more credit because he's really up there with some of the best industry legends, and he's just too humble to kind of get the recognition.
Oh yeah, incredible. I'd love to pick his brain. If we can. I love those Turok soundtracks. They're just fantastic. Incredible.
I talk to him all the time. I mean, I've known him for 15 years now. Yeah, maybe a little bit more. Mm-hmm. And I mean, he's just one of the nicest guys you could ever hope to meet. But way too humble.
Yep.
If anyone was wondering what we're talking about, Alberto Jose Gonzalez, check out his soundtracks for Asterix, Smurfs Nightmare. There's specifically one track, Smurfs Nightmare, Another World. That specific track, if you check that out, is one of the most mesmerizing Game Boy tracks you'll ever hear, and it's so beyond general video game music compositions.
Yep. Yeah, I mean, I think I put him up there with Jake Kaufman and that kind of level of amazing quality,
way ahead of his time.
Yep.
And self-taught, completely self-taught. He put a letter in the mailbox to get a job, and they were like, "Can you do this?" And he said yes, and he didn't. So it's like, okay, learn on the job, basically. And he just incredible talent. Like his graphics too. When you look at it, he did a lot of the graphics for. I think he did some of the Turok graphics. Mm-hmm. And even if you don't like the game, I mean, the graphics in those games still great. Yeah. So. Yep.
King Crouch, $5. Merry Christmas. On this topic, do you have advice for someone who does mods for ports similar to DS Fix or FAR? I'm not sure what they are, but we'll move on. Does that stuff look good on a resume? Look, I think anything that is kind of creative work, modding type work, does look good on a resume. I will tell you, at Night Dive, there are some modders that work on the team, and that's what they do, and they submit their work and they show off the stuff that they do. So I think that is definitely something that you want to put on a resume. Tom Green, $2 Canadian. When are you doing a jam sesh with Metal Jesus Rocks? I'd love to jam with Metal Jesus. That would be pretty
What do you
awesome.
play?
I have 2 electric guitars and a bass behind me, Audie. So I'm a guitar player.
I play the guitar as well. So
very cool.
We'll make a band.
We'll have to do that. Yeah, Hank Trey, $20. Thank you so much. Merry Christmas. I have been drinking. I didn't really drink much today. I had a couple of beers earlier, but I don't know, man.
I had a couple of beers. I had the Radler, which is a German like mix of like juice and beer, and I probably had something else, but it's getting too late.
Well, on that note, we are going to wrap it up for this episode. I'm going to send Audie to bed. He's been very gracious hanging out with me.
Tuck me in, man.
Yeah, I'll
That's
tuck
what
you
I've been
in.
Waiting for. That is my Christmas.
But we've been going for about an hour and 40 minutes or so. So we'll finish up here. But I wanted to say thank you to everyone for hanging out again. We'll do it next year. I'll have Audie come back if he wants to, but we'll maybe start a little earlier during the day so we can hang around a little while longer. But Audie, do you want to let people know where they can find you? Any good stuff like that? I'll put stuff in the description below after this is done. But you want to let the fine folks know where they can find you?
I didn't scare you away with my monotone voice today.
No.
You can find me on Twitter at PC98_Audie if you want to follow me directly. You can follow me also at Sakai Games_ if you want to follow my game production. And if you want to watch the videos from people way better than what I do, you can go to Digital Foundry, where I do help out. I do edit up the weekly directs and do the Patreon work. So you have many options there. You can pick from 4 different places, or just not follow any of them.
Well, yeah, I will leave links to Audie's stuff in the description below. But follow Audie; he's awesome. And yeah, follow Digital Foundry if you don't already. I know a lot of people that watch my channel are already big fans of DF.
There's a lot of overlap, I've noticed.
There is. I get a lot of that stuff, which is really awesome because you guys do amazing work, and even just having my name mentioned, even in the conversation, is very humbling sometimes. But I'm going to stop ranting.
Every time Rich says your name, your pants get just all that much tighter.
On that note, we are going to finish up. Let Audie get some rest. Have a wonderful holiday, everyone. I will be back making videos on January the 3rd. I'm taking a break, so there's no video next week. I'm taking a little bit of time off just to recharge. But videos are coming back early in the new year. Thank you again for everyone for hanging out. Have a safe holiday, and I will see you next year. Have a good one, everyone.
Christmas.